Hello, everyone. This is Kathy Caprino, and welcome to my podcast, Finding Brave. I've created this show for everyone who longs to create something bold and brave in their life, to rise up, speak up, and stand up for who they are, and to reach their highest and biggest visions. Each week, I'll be speaking with inspiring guests from all walks of business, leadership, entertainment, the creative arts, and the entrepreneurial world. And they'll be sharing their intimate stories of finding brave and offer their best strategies for building your most rewarding, joyful, and meaningful life, business, and career. I so appreciate you being here. And speaking of appreciation, I am so thrilled to share that Amazon Music is now a sponsor for Finding Brave. So if you feel as I do that music is an important, enriching part of your life, and you would like unlimited access to 70 million songs today, I hope you'll hop on our special link, which is getamazonmusic.com/findingbrave and get our 30-day free trial offer. Again, unlimited access to 70 million songs. That's a whole lot of music and a lot of listening joy. Thank you again so much, and enjoy the show. Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Finding Brave. I love this. Tuesdays are my batch days where I get to talk to a lot of people in one day. And it's such a pleasure. Jared, today we have the amazingly inspiring Jared Kleinert. And we were just catching up. It's been a bit since we really spoke. And my gosh, you've got so much going on. And you know, we've changed in the years since we first met, both of us, I think, in a big way. But we are talking about how to build a world-class network in record time. I love it. And I talk about networking a lot, as we were just sharing, but I know you have a different view of it. You have a different lens. And I'm going to read your bio, but I do want to tell you how I know Jared, just because I think you embody networking. It oozes from every cell. It's who you are. It's not just something you learned later. No, not that that's bad. Learning is good. But I met Jared, I guess we're saying now 4 years ago, when you were working with the wonderful Kristen Aldridge and Seth Madison as they were launching Luminate, yeah. And what a beautiful vision. And, but I just knew in talking to you, you're just a consummate connector. I can tell that. It's just easy. And I think you've been on the podcast before here, haven't you?
I believe so. Yeah.
Yes,
Got
because I'm remembering.
The book circuit, right?
That's it. Yeah. Jared's got a new book out, but I remember entrepreneurship has kind of been in your blood. It's all coming back to me now because of your grandparents, I think, right?
Grandparents, parents, step aunts and uncles.
The whole thing. I love it. All right, people, we're going to talk about building your world-class network in record time. But let me tell you about Jared. Jared is a TED speaker, award-winning author, and USA Today's most connected millennial. Sometimes we get these labels and they're okay, and we leave them in a few years. That one you're going to have for a long time, because that's amazing. Jared is the co-founder of a new startup called OffSite, which is offsiteexperiences.com. We're going to hear about that. And the author of the new book, How to Build a World-Class Network in Record Time. You also have 2 other books. Tell us the names of those, please.
Sure. And thanks for having me as a repeat guest.
I'm so glad to have you.
So I started my career studying top performing millennials from all different walks of life, and was fortunate enough to publish 2 books. One's called 2 Billion Under 20, and then the other's 3 Billion Under 30. The first was traditionally published. Second one I self-published, but those featured stories from hundreds of the world's smartest, most talented millennials, like the founders of WordPress and Duolingo.
And they were billionaires, or no? Where does the word
They're all there's about 2 billion people in the world at or under 20 years old. There's about 3 billion people in the world at or under 30. Although, as a byproduct, some people think I'm a billionaire, which is great, but that is not the case.
Put something in your book title and suddenly you're it. I should say the most famous breakthrough coach ever. Why not? Next time, next book. Anyway.
I am fortunate to have come from a background of entrepreneurs in my family. Didn't have any business to walk into necessarily, and so I carved my own path. was also fortunate to work with a negative mentor, which I think we covered in our last podcast, like a former white collar convict when I was 16. That made me reach out to a much more positive mentor who was called the most connected man you don't know in Silicon Valley, according to Forbes. And he has a company called 15Five, which some people may have heard of. They're a fast growing employee engagement and culture management tool and startup.
You need that.
I was one of the first 10 employees there. They're now over 250 people and growing like crazy.
Oh, good to hear it.
And I got to work with Keith Ferrazzi as well. Keep name dropping here. So I got to learn about networking from true subject matter experts. And so I think that's what separates me from other people, perhaps, is I got to learn it from amazing experts. I've had to do it in a short amount of time, just given my age. I'm only 25 at time of recording. And so I think that's what's interesting from all the people I studied in my previous books, my own experiences, is that we've done a lot of these things at work in a very short amount of time, relatively speaking. And so how do you do that? What are the things that you can replicate on your end, regardless of your age? That's where the, sort of in record time aspect comes into play. And I think that's a refreshing take. Everyone wants to get rich quick. You have to do it slowly, but if you can meet the right people sooner than later, that's advantageous.
I love it. All right, let's start. I'm going to ask you the questions that, I run a course, the Amazing Career Project, got another course coming out. I hear certain questions over and over and over and over. And sometimes I'm like, humph, because I have to say the same thing over and over, but not that I get irritated, but the humph is about why can't we get this information out in a way that makes sense to people? So I'm going to start with the question I hear most. I'm always talking about mentors and sponsors. And they're different, right? And again, if you haven't heard this from me, I'll say it again. The way I see it is mentors are people that you've already demonstrated your potential to. They're already in your life. They're not a role model that's a million steps away, Justin Bieber, he could become a mentor, but that's a different thing. I'm talking about someone in your life who've said, I'd love to give you guidance, counsel. A sponsor is someone who does that, who has clout, who has influence. And the research shows that one amazing study that women have 3 times as many mentors, but men have twice as many sponsors. And I believe there's a number of factors around that. I think men tend to look at who's higher in the hierarchy, and they go there. Women tend, not all women, to be more reluctant to do that. Like if the CEO is given a lunch and learn, where are the women sitting, and I'll tell my clients, get next to the CEO and then have something to say. But the point is, I would love you to tell us what you think a world-class network is. And does it involve mentors and sponsors and ambassadors? What is it? Let's do that first. What is it?
Great question. So the way I view it is a 3-part process. It's connecting with yourself first and foremost. Then it's connecting with others, and then it's connecting with others at scale. You become someone like myself, someone like Kathy, and we have a lot of people to talk to. We have to think about how do we manage that growing network, give everyone the time that they need, not disrespect anyone. So that's sort of the most advanced stage. But to start, we have to connect with ourselves. And what that means is really a 3-part experiment. It's first identifying what you want your life to look like. And there's a cool journaling exercise called a vivid vision, where you can write out your life as if you're living it in 3 years from now, in all aspects of your life, your money, your health, your family, work. Sort of take yourself there mentally, and then start thinking about what types of people do you need to meet to have that life come to fruition. And so that's there's a relationship action plan tool that I talk about a lot, which is from Keith Ferrazzi. And that's just getting very clear about what types of people do you need to meet: mentors, sponsors, partners, all those people that can very intentionally help you get to those goals that you just set for yourself and your life in the next 3 years. And then it's also looking at, what are you world class at, and what makes you different than everybody else? And so there's a tool called your zone of genius. So where do your passions, your skills, and the market opportunities all intersect to make you better than everybody? And everyone has a zone of genius. It's up to you to figure out what that is and do your skills assessments or take inventory of your passions, do some research, figure out what problems there are in the world. There's plenty of problems in the world today.
No shortage. Holy cow.
And also like when it comes to what makes you different than everybody, how are you talking about your life story? How are you presenting yourself? If everybody's zigging, how are you zagging in a way that's authentic with you? And so there's a lot of work that you can do to connect with yourself before you place yourself next to that CEO or reach out to that potential mentor or sponsor. I love that language. What that does is it makes it easier when you do go reach out to that person. And so then you're connecting with others. I think if you do all that hard work ahead of time, it will make it easier and quicker for you to accelerate your networking and your relationship building. I talk about this idea in the book called the snowball strategy, which is basically just getting one relationship rolling down the hill, but it's with someone who's a super connector, well regarded in their industry, highly connected, wants to be your sponsor and actually speak on your behalf and connect you to other people. And if you've done all the hard work of figuring out, what makes you different, what you can offer as value, what you want, then you could find the perfect sponsor for you. Do everything in your power to make his or her life easier and bring them value. And then that's your first snowball that will start rolling down the hill and turn into an avalanche of opportunities and connections. For me, that was this guy, David Hassel, the founder of 15Five. I just sent him a cold email and offered to work for free in exchange for his mentorship. Keith was another example of that. I did a month of work for him for free to promote one of his books. And those were some early snowballs rolling down the hill that then allowed me to meet other people that they talked to and learn from them how to talk to other people. And as time went on, I recalibrated my vivid vision. I got clear on what makes me unique. And then I kept reaching out to more of those super connectors. And over time, you have a vast network. And then you have other issues like how do you keep in touch with everyone? Right. How do you keep finding higher and higher level people, all that fun stuff.
Wow. So I'm hearing, I love every minute of it. I think I'm pretty sure I've had Keith on the podcast and found everything he said amazing. I want to highlight and amplify a few things. Could I? Sure. I don't think anybody who writes about anyone I've spoken to who's written a lot about networking, I don't think has talked as much as they need to often about the self piece. So let me just hit this hard. You can't go out and, this is why the questions come. How do I find a mentor? If you don't have any idea how you're different, how you're special, what you want, no, you can't find a mentor. And a lot of people say to me, but Kathy, I'm coming to you to pivot my career and change. What do I do? I can't find a mentor in a career direction that I don't even know that I want. You don't have to have them in your exact career. These people that we're talking about really know people, and they're going to be incredibly helpful to you on any problem that you have. So I think what I see people doing is they're confused about what they want. They don't have that 3-year vision. So then they don't get out of the gate talking to anyone. Would you agree with that?
Yeah. And you don't have to figure this out all at once, certainly. When I reached out to David, I didn't know what a vivid vision exercise was. I didn't know how to find my zone of genius. So you can start by reaching out to potential mentors or potential sponsors. It just makes it easier and accelerates your ability to build a world-class network if you can tee things up, in advance. And some things that might be helpful is if you don't know what your passions are, for example, then maybe you look at other colleagues or other people in your family or life, even on YouTube, see what things inspire you or make you jealous, and what are little experiments you could try out. And so if you think that there's a lot of like dance videos on TikTok that are cool, then why don't you set aside a week or two to try and learn dancing or go sign up for a dance class? You'll quickly realize that you'll either love that and start pursuing it more as a passion, or you'll hate it. And
I love it.
you can do that with new business ideas too. You can do that with career moves. Instead of going to law school and spending 4 to 8 years and all that money, like go shadow a lawyer around for a week or two, and either you'll love it or you'll hate it. So there, you
I
could set
love
up
it.
these experiments to figure out your passions if you don't already know what they are. As far as skills, there's some assessments. The Kolbe A index is a great one. KOLBEA index. It's like $55 to take, and they'll give you language that you can use to tell other people about your strengths.
Nice.
There's Strengths Finders, which is a very popular one too. Similar thing. So there's assessments that can help you. You could also ask your colleagues, your family, like, what am I really good at? And if you're brave, you can ask them, what do I suck at? And
Love it.
get some constructive criticism there. Opportunities, you can also frame that as problems. There's a lot of problems in the world. There's probably plenty of issues in your industry, in your community. So that you can probably just make a laundry list of. Hopefully that's the easiest, especially in this day and age.
I
There's a
love it.
lot of opportunity out there.
I
And
would love
so,
to say, I have a lot of resources on my own website. In fact, I have a slide share, 11 questions to help you uncover your passion. And so we'll link to that. I have a number of assessments, personality assessments, dominant action style, all sorts of things. So we'll link to all those.
yeah,
Um,
as
I
far
love
as
it.
the relationship action plan idea, um, how I would approach that is just make it manageable. Pick 2 or 3 goals at any given time for your networking efforts, right? You're going to set a goal to lose weight. You're going to set a goal to like read books, drink water. Why not set goals around your networking and be more intentional about it? And so, we're fundraising for OffSite. So one of my goals needs to be to talk to X amount of potential angel investors. And I can define what type of person we want to invest in the company. And then that's my goal. And I can start looking at my immediate network to see who fits that description. I could start looking on LinkedIn and in Facebook groups to see who I may have mutual connections with, and then ask those people to make
Yeah.
introductions for me. These things do get easier over time. That's part of
You
the
read
snowball
my
strategy too.
mind. You read my
It is
mind. I mean,
it
it
is
comes.
very hard up front, but
That's
as
it.
the more super connectors you meet, the more that snowball gets rolling down the hill. It becomes easier and easier. And then you become a super connector yourself, and you start sponsoring other people and building them up, and then in turn they become the next big thing, and then they're helping you out. So it does become easier. This is very much a skill. Like, I was a shy kid growing up. I broke out of my shell when I was a teenager, like trying to start my first
Mm.
companies that failed miserably. And you can learn these skills. You could do it from anywhere in the world. It doesn't have to be all face to face. We do have Zoom. We do have asynchronous communications now. You got email. We got the internet. Yay!
Love it. I love it. So, a few things I'd love to dig in a little deeper on. As you were talking, it all rolls off your tongue so easily. And for those just starting out, I don't mean just like my kids, 23 and 26, but people just starting out doing this. It is daunting in the beginning. Let's not lie here. It's like, what do I even say? And what my colleagues and clients and course members say is, if I reach out to someone 10 steps ahead of me, I'm afraid they're going to say, who's this person? Why should I bother with this person? So I'd love you to touch on that for a minute. But what the other thing I want to talk about is, you talk about super connectors. Are you there?
Yeah, I'm
Oh,
here.
good,
Sorry,
Jared, because you're going to
just
be
on
on.
mute.
You're going to be on video. Yeah, we put this on YouTube.
Oh, sorry. I was just
No
plugging in my
problem.
computer.
Oh, no
But yeah,
problem.
I'm here.
Good. So we'll just cut this little piece out. What I do want to talk about is super connectors. I want to tell you what I've seen, and you can give us some insight. There have been a few people in my life. They've been on the podcast now: Judy Robinette, Mike Stollard. I didn't know it at the time, but I connected, and they have become so, I'm going to use the term generative. I cannot believe how many introductions, how many ideas they send me, how many introductions. These people are true super connectors. And I feel like if I had to put money on, would they be someone who would give me hundreds? It probably would not have been them, because both I think are a little introverted. They're just blowing me away, and they're teaching me how to do it. It's a skill set to be one. It's something that's honed. I don't think we come out of the gate knowing how to be one. So can you give us a tip? Number one, how do we identify a super connector? Because not all famous people are generous. Let's face it. Wow, I'm seeing that because I'm intersecting with, movers and shakers. So it's not just that they're famous. So tell us, how do you identify super connectors and how do you become one concretely?
Yeah, so if we go back to the relationship action plan idea, I think that tool is really freeing because we're looking for types of people instead of specific individuals. And so you don't have to
Right.
wrap your emotions around connecting with the CEO of Marriott if you're in the hospitality industry and want to rise up the rank of the corporate world. If your vivid vision has you becoming senior management in a hospitality company, you know, you can think about the types of people that could help you get there. And it might be recruiters, it might be a CEO of a major chain, but there's 20 people that are CEOs of major hotel chains. It doesn't have to be the one CEO of Marriott.
Right.
It could be investors in those companies. It could be board members of companies like that. It could be a retired CEO. And so I think it's freeing to think about types of people, and then think again about what can you offer as value to those individuals, and approach it in that way rather than focusing on just one person, like a Gary Vaynerchuk or Richard Branson.
Yeah.
Um, Basically do like the selfie test. Like, do you need to take a selfie with this person and post about it, or can you just live with building a relationship with them and never posting a photo with them
That's a
online?
beautiful way to differentiate.
Yeah,
And I think if you
and
want the selfie, that's more about a little bit like self-aggrandizement, a little bit like
yeah, it's your ego.
vanity
It's
networking.
signaling to other people.
Oh,
It doesn't mean anything at the end of the day. As far as super connectors, I would define those people as individuals who are well regarded in their industries. So other people in that industry or in that community look up to them in a very positive way. I would consider them as someone that is uh, high integrity, uh, highly connected, and also has the wherewithal to know how to make connections and facilitate that for others. And so I do look
yeah.
for people that have the skill of community building or that know how to write effective emails to introduce people, or will do a double opt in email intro, which is basically getting two parties to agree to talk to each other before you connect them. So I do look for those people, and you're right. It's typically not the most famous person in the room. It's
No.
not. Um, it's typically someone who's more accessible and willing to actually spend time with you, um, and is still looked very favorably upon. Someone like David was that perfect person for me because everyone in Silicon Valley knew him, or many people knew of him. The PayPal co-founders, the Tim Ferrisses of the world, A+ angel investors, other founders, but he wasn't a big household name himself, and so
Wow.
he had a lot of. He was accessible at the time and very skillful at connecting others, and well liked. And so that's the person I want to associate with and, help, because then they'll help me. They can see from a mile away that I'm genuinely trying to give them value, that I'm approaching it the right way. And then even if they don't make an active effort to introduce me, like when they're hosting parties, when they're building their company, they're attracting other great investors and employees, and you can meet those people. Uh, so that's how
I
I
love
would
it.
personally define a super connector. Um,
I would
Definitely doesn't have to be the most famous person. Probably isn't at the end of the day. Maybe it's their right hand person, who actually is the operator. Um, and you don't have to focus on just one person. You could focus on a type of person you're looking to connect with.
I love it. I'm going to give a tip as well. Sometimes these super connectors share with me so many tips and potential introductions that I almost can't keep up. And I want to tell you this, find a way to keep up, because when you find an amazing, generous, brilliant person who knows amazing, generous, brilliant people, it doesn't matter if you have the time, make the time for the person that they introduce. Every time I say, oh no, I don't have time to have this person on my podcast, I go, stop it. Yeah, I slap myself out of it the next day, and every time I enter into that introduction, I'm blown away times 10. So a lot of this is doing work on ourselves. It's understanding that we need other people. It's not looking for the vanity piece, because it'll get you nowhere. It's looking for true supporters that have a great joy of being of service to others. And you, hopefully, it'll ignite your wish to be of service to others as well, right? Either paying it forward or paying it back, or any which way. The other thing I do want to say is some people are very eloquent in how they do their double opt-in. Some people write, Kathy, Fred, I think you two would really hit it off. I know you both. I think you should meet. And that's all I get. Perfect. Then I go look at Fred online and go, yes, absolutely, I need to meet Fred. So some people don't do it in a beautiful way, but they do
And
it.
that's okay. If
That's
they're
okay.
if they're a super connector and everyone trusts them and you trust them, you could definitely build that relationship where you just know that you got to talk to this person, even if you don't have context.
That's
They're just
it.
worth
That's what it
talking
is.
to.
Perfect. All right. I only have a few more minutes with you. Tell us about, well, first of all, anything else that you see that people don't understand about building a world-class network. What is the biggest thing? Let's say you got 2,000 people looking at you right now. What do
Wow.
you want them to know?
I guess the thing that's top of mind right now is that there is a balance between building that world class network in record time, doing this as quickly as possible to accomplish your goals, um, help your clients more, bring your vision to life, and also the fact that we are playing a very long game. Some of the people that you're making friendships with now may benefit you in 10, 20 years, and you have no idea how they're going to support you or how you're going to support them in the future. Um,
Oh, I love
but
that,
it's
Jared.
it's balancing those two, and so you sh- if I had an extra hour to work tonight or go out with friends for a drink, I almost always am going to go out with friends for a drink because those relationships are going to last me multiple ventures, multiple books, and I prioritize that. And so, yes, you should be cold emailing everyone to your heart's content. Yes, you should be building trust and intimacy as quickly as possible, asking people for help, offering support to others. At the same time, if someone isn't ready to help you, if they don't seem like they're the perfect person to support you right now, to the best of your abilities, still build that relationship, especially if they came from a trusted source
Love it.
or you think that they're going to be successful in the future, because you never know where you're going to be able to partner up, how you're going to be able to support each other. Um, even with offsite, like we're getting some of our early investors now who I built friendships with 8 years ago. And I'm only 25, so I don't really have a lot of
Wow.
time in the past. So
We're in middle
it's
school.
yeah, like people that I was literally, working with, working for, cold emailing, 8, 9 years ago, going out to drinks with. Those are the people that are supporting me, all these years later, and hopefully I'm doing the same for others. And
Oh,
so
Jared,
it's
I love
balancing the two.
two things I want to say about that. There's a Buddhist kind of concept, don't overly attach to the outcome. That's kind of what I see. We're going to do all this, but if you're looking at, and this is another question I get, they haven't responded to me. I did reach out. Well, how long do I wait? It's not a prescription. It's not like a doctor's note, take 3 a day. I don't mean to sound snarky. What I mean is it's a relationship. Sometimes the relationship doesn't move forward. Sometimes they don't respond.
Sometimes
So
people are having kids and they're just
yeah.
they're out
Oh,
of office.
that's it. That's it. And sometimes they don't even have the time to tell you that. I just had my 4th child. So don't attach to it. Give it give it the go and let the universe help. If you don't hear anything back, sure, follow up once, then let it go. And the second thing is don't take it all so personally. If someone doesn't respond, it doesn't mean you're a loser. It doesn't mean you're not worthy. Who knows what's going on in their life? Just keep at it and try not to evaluate yourself, loser, winner, by what comes your way. Do you agree with that, Jared?
Yeah. And this is a skill set. I'm still dealing with everything you just said. Like before we went live, I was speaking to my executive coach about these very same emotions and feeling like,
Yeah.
oh, this person didn't get back to me. And I feel like, I feel hurt by that. Or
Right. And
oh, this
funding,
person said no. And, it's like, it's okay if they say no. Like you could
right.
talk to them in 5 years about some other venture, or maybe in 6 months, they'll be in a better spot. You never know what's going on the
Or
other side
maybe
of the
they
table.
tell you that one thing that needed to pivot in your venture, or you were
Exactly.
going to get a lot more no's. So you have an executive coach. You work with someone to help you, right?
Sure.
Why
Yeah,
not?
I have an executive coach. I got co-founders. I have an amazing wife who keeps me humble.
Oh,
Got
Jared.
plenty of people in my corner. But that's the thing. This is all a skill. You can get better at networking. You can uh, get great people around you. The cool thing about networking is it's not only the people that are going to open doors for you, give you opportunities and access, but it's also how you learn, right? You learn from
Right.
your news feeds, you learn from the quality of information you get. And so there's a double benefit of networking in that you can get higher quality
Oh,
information,
what a good
make better
what
decisions.
a good idea. They're curating. Follow them because they're
Exactly.
curating incredible information that help them get. These are fantastic tips. All right, I know I got to let you go, but tell us about offsite experiences. Where did it come from, the idea? What's the whole point? Tell us.
Yeah, I'll keep it quick. Offsite does end-to-end team retreat planning for
Wow.
the increasingly decentralized workforce. Yeah, we're
Wow.
we're in the middle of an ongoing trend where people are um, not in offices all the time, and there's remote-friendly companies. There's now a lot of remote-first companies. The pandemic has moved that forward, maybe 3 to 5 years or 10 years, in terms of workplace acceptance around remote work, and so the flip side of that, the opportunity, the problem, depending on how you look at it, is that it's really hard to build great company culture when everyone is remote. It's something that I experienced when I was at 15.5, as one of the early employees. We were remote first, in
Wow.
2013,
Wow.
2014. And yet there was a lot of intention, a lot of investment around team retreats and around how we communicate in person when we're not together.
Wow.
Uh, and so there's a lot of things you have to get right to build great company culture. One of the things you can do is invest in team retreats once a quarter, at least once a year, get everyone together in person. And then what do you do when you have everyone together? How you plan your agenda, where you stay. There's a lot of time and money that'll go into that. And we try and save our clients time and money in planning an
Wow.
offsite. We also help them think very intentionally around how they want to craft their agenda, how they want to facilitate, um,
And what their
what their
values are, what they
what their
want to
values are, what
embody
their
from
goals
this.
are for the offsite. Is it a hangout session because we haven't seen each other in a year? Is it a strategic planning session? Did you just acquire a business and you're absorbing new employees? Uh,
Wow, Jared,
there's
I
so many
love it.
reasons to have an offsite, and so we're providing the services. And next year and thereafter, we'll hopefully have physical campuses to also offer the spaces for people to have
Wow.
great team retreats. So
Sounds so
very,
good.
very ambitious. We're just fundraising, getting our early clients in the door. Um, it's networking, relationship building on the company level. So that's kind of a cool challenge for me too.
Wow, Jared. It's an important, one thing I think you do really well when people say, I want to start a business, found a business, launch a venture, you have to identify a need that hasn't been met in the way it needs to be met yet. And to me, that's it. That the time for that is so ripe. And we're seeing how if we don't have a cohesive experience, and it's of course harder now because we're not together, it will unravel. It will unravel.
I was gonna say it's probably the easiest thing I've been able to sell in the past. Like
Right.
selling
We all
professional speaking
understand.
services is hard. Meeting in the Minds is my main business. We basically do these offsites, but for entrepreneurs, and run a mastermind to get diverse entrepreneurs together. But that's a sales process to convince people of the value of a mastermind group if they're a solopreneur or a small business owner. But when you're at the 10, 25, 50 employee level, or you were mentioning your corporate background, when you have 30, 40, 50 people on your team and you have to build company culture in addition to doing all the other stuff you got to do, it's very hard. And so it's painfully obvious when you're having shortcomings there and when you could do it a better way. And so we're hoping to to help.
Sounds amazing. So where do we learn all about you, Jared? Where do we get your book when it comes out?
Yeah.
Where do we learn about OffSite Experiences?
MOTM.co is Meeting in the Minds. MOTM.co/books is the books.
Great.
Offsite is offsiteexperiences.com. You can also just email me, Jared, at offsiteexperiences.com, and we'll hook you up. And you can email me, Jared Kleinert at gmail.com, or Jared at Offsite Experiences. They all go to the same place. So
come to your house for dinner when we're pandemic's over.
Come to Atlanta.
Oh, Jared, I love everything you have to say. And you didn't let me down. You talked about those things that we just sometimes, I interviewed a wonderful guy, Gorick, I believe you pronounce it Eng, I'm not sure, on unspoken rules when you're starting your first job. And he spells it out, Jared. I mean, we'll link to it. It's incredible. But there are unspoken rules about networking that we do have to have them spelled out if we haven't gone through a lot of years of trial and error, and you're spelling them out for us. So we're so grateful. Thank you for being here. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Please do reach out if you found this interesting. Like, you'd be surprised how few people reach out on even popular shows. So let me know how I can help, please.
Thank you, Jared. Thank you so much. And enjoy Atlanta. Lucky you. What a great place. All right, people. We're on a mission here. We're giving you information that we hope you're not hearing all over the place, and that we also hope that it motivates you to take that action, to just take that tiny step. We're not asking you to go from 0 to 1,000. Just, identify 10 people that maybe are a few steps ahead of you that you could reach out to on LinkedIn, which is my happy place. Just start there, and you will find this on LinkedIn. Let us know how it goes. Let us know your questions. Jared's sounds like he's pretty available to answer a question or two. All right. Thank you again. I hope you have a brave week, and we'll see you on LinkedIn, and we'll see you networking. All right. Bye, everyone. See you next time. Thanks so much for joining us today. And please don't forget to check out findingbrave.org for more programs, resources, and tips. And tune in next time for your weekly dose of Finding Brave.